Dr. Sam Amadi, Director, Abuja School of Social and Political Thought, is in the studio to look at these issues and developments. Thank you so much for joining us on Newsnight. Good to see you on a Sunday like this. So, yeah, well, NSA Ribadu has, revealed that there was a security talk with visiting U.S. congressional delegation in Abuja. Of course, recall a couple of weeks ago, he led a team to the United States following, of course, the redesignation of Nigeria by Trump as a country of particular concern. What do you make of this? Is this a softening of the strong stance on the part of the United States towards Nigeria as a country of particular concern? And how would you even assess the way the Nigerian government has gone about this so far? Well, do you expect results, good results?
I think first is, when Trump makes what appears policy statements through his Twitter handle or through press release conferences, it does not mean that the American foreign policy machine will work exactly according to the rhetoric and the temper or the tenor of those statements. So they're going to go back and calibrate. And Mr. Trump was clear that he was going to trigger a inquiry of this nature. So part of it was we've had congressional hearing. The committee has had, I think, 2 now. And again, we saw this very high-powered with Honorable Riley, of course, the Secretary of State for Africa, who is the highest foreign policy, person in Washington about Africa matter, and of course the ambassador. So that's higher level. So I think Trump is moving in the way he indicated. The people say, "Oh, is Trump going to attack Nigeria?" If you listen carefully, forget the disgraced country and the rhetoric and the typical
guns are blazed.
The typical Trumpian language. But it's clear. They want to find out. First, they have expressed 3 concerns. First is that they might, remove Nigeria from critical aids. They might contemplate maybe some kind of visa restrictions which they've announced. Yeah. They might also, maybe worst case scenario, some hit and run, take out the terrorists. The Nigerian government has also initial political talk also discount them, or the noise about America is coming to those are nonsense. The government has also proceeded reasonably by the NSA going to Washington, having some meeting. Even suppose it's not high grade enough, but those meetings were useful. Right. And the engagement now results to some procedurized process of fact-finding. Now, the good thing about this team is that they went about business briskly. I mean, if it was Nigerian, maybe delegation, spend days in a hotel, meet with all ranking people, senators, Senate president. They just made the NSA, had a meeting with him, and went to the spot. So that signals that Trump and his team, they are serious about the idea of knowing what the true concern. And the fact that they had different meetings with the governor in his office and didn't bring them together, and went respectfully to the Archbishop of Benue, and of course the Archbishop of Katsina Allah, suggests a team that has clarity. They don't want official statements, official narrative. They want to get an official statement. They also want to get a statement of victims themselves. And this is the guy, that Anabwe was the guy, the Archbishop who went to Washington to have a very extensive discussion that triggered this reaction. So coming to him and coming to meet the Tortiv, they're trying to plumb the religious and the ethnic dimension of this conflict. And that shows that they mean business. So
what do you think this really would translate into? Would it be a shift in the way they're seeing this situation so far? Because they've said it's Christian genocide that's going on.
I think they will restate that statement. Not that Muslims are not being killed. Look, their comment is also a kind of vote of no confidence in mainstream media in Nigeria. They said, okay, maybe you guys, we are all shorter and down statement constrained. We're not saying exactly what it is. So they're not relying on, I mean, this is something that go to Washington and just type any of the news media and get information. But they want to come and see. So there's a distrust. There's a distrust of both the official narrative and the mainstream media. So we don't trust you guys. We want to see ourselves. I think they're going to, my sense is that, look, they talk to these guys and see evidence and see the history of these attacks. maybe, and again, they didn't say, let's go and talk to Bishop Kuka, who kind of toes towards the official narrative of genocide. Yeah. They saw these guys who say there's genocide. It seems to be the one who have clarity and evidence to back up. And they're going to come back and say Christians are kind of targeted in northern Nigeria. Maybe these are terrorists who are also attacking Muslims. But that is a northern Christian dimension that's not going to touch. And so I think they will return a more bounded logic that says we see evidence of disproportionate attack on Christians in northern Nigeria. We also see evidence that these terrorists are also firing, at whatever is before them.
With this engagement now that seems to be a little more civil, do you think there's a possibility that Trump would reverse his redesignation of Nigeria as a CPC? Address that. And then very quickly, France says it's ready to support Nigeria in the war against terrorism. I mean, Macron has said no one can remain a spectator. And of course, we have the US who is also offering some kind of support, though it may not be exactly defined yet. And I'm wondering, is this another scramble for Africa by another name in the name of coming to help,
I think it's
in the war against terrorism?
I think it's like...
What are we dealing with there?
Let's start with the last. I think it's like Professor Wole Soyinka's book called The Trial of Borojero.
Yes.
This is like a guy who is tired. France is gasping for breath. Macron, they're tired. They're just looking, see Africa to rejuvenate their youth. And it's sad. Look, yes, we don't want military coup in any of our sub-region. Of course, military coup is a combination of failure of governance and socioeconomic factors. But look, sitting there and saying they can't be bystanders, they should be bystanders in encouraging those leaders to do the right thing. So I have no,
provide good governance,
I have no trust in the French intervention anyhow. I think that West Africa, again, we should be careful invading Benin for any reason. We don't want to create a precedent of inter-West Africa invasion. These guys should go out and hand over back to the real guys elected. But the lessons should not be lost, but we shouldn't go gun a-blazing into Benin, because we didn't want Trump to gun a-blaze into Nigeria. But quickly on the issue of what, the fact you mentioned about what will come out of this. The CPC, Nigeria's emotion, we are in CPC in 2020 before the lobbyists, APC and the lobbyists, Democratic lobbyists in Washington took us out. Because they got it out, immediately Biden won, there was a Muslim head of that commission. The next few hours, they got Nigeria out. The truth is that we're not going to get out except we deal with the issues. They have raised 3 issues. And here, Professor Amadi talked about the criminal Sharia, the public Sharia. That's a problem you have to address, because essentially that really creates a sense of constitutional double citizenship. Again, the issue around the violence in the Benue and the Benue Valley, you have to be more structured and respect rule of law, impunity, so that people. So the American fact finding, the process for designation is not based on narratives. It's fact based. So if you change the facts on the ground, then you'll be redesignated. So what I think will come out of this is to say, yes, we're not talking like men. Okay, these are the issues, and the Nigerian government seems to really want to tag on with getting themselves out. And some people think that Christopher Musa's appointment could help to change the optics. Again, if they follow through with doing the right things, then periodic reviews, the U.S. Commission on Freedom of Religion International will sit back and look at the facts and say, Nigeria escapes. Don't forget, many countries are there, including China. So there's a reason why you're there. There's a reason why you can get out. You don't get out because you are full of narratives or people are shouting. This team will report back to Trump, and the U.S. State Department to look at the facts, and the Commission will look at the facts and say, government has done enough to suggest that Nigeria is no longer an egregious violator of international human rights. Most
importantly, do you think all of these interventions, especially the intervention by the United States, will actually keep Nigerian authorities, both the military and of course the government, on their toes in a way that will begin to actually see a pushback, on terrorists and terrorism? Do you think that this can really be sustained in terms of
It can be sustained. It can be sustained only if the leading political actors, political party, look at ADC, for example, the leading party, has not weighed in on this. Everybody's gone shy. Everybody doesn't want to either offend Christian or offend Muslim. So I think that this kick is like a trigger. It's like injecting cocaine. The government to act like somebody who is possessed, and then if there's no local ownership and local pressure. Maybe people go to court challenging, people press in the House of Assembly. Unfortunately, the National Assembly is dead, basically, because they should be the ones,
That's
really.
strong.
No, they're dead, really, in the sense of what they ought to do. Let's not, look romantic here. Have they had any hearing? A country was decided as a foreign country is threatening to bomb you. Have you had any hearing? All you hear is some statement like, "Oh, Trump's on our neck." That's really both illogical, elementary, childish, and irresponsible.
But don't you think the 5-hour grilling of the new defense minister, shows that these people are reading the room, the lawmakers are reading the room correctly?
Yeah, they're reading the room. They understand the pressure, but they're not doing their work. See, so the pressure is to trigger a process. So, for example, I expected a bipartisan congressional hearing, or if you like, parliamentary, as we use the word, where you sit down and bring that reverend. Have they engaged that Archbishop who went to Washington?
Unfortunately.
Look, the Americans have engaged them. So when I said they're dead, I don't mean that they're not any salaries and they don't have the pomp and pageantry of legislators. They just are not doing their work. Their country is in actual diplomatic war, where a foreign country is threatening a foreign president who has clout capacity, who can do it actually. And Nigerian president is working hard, presidency is working hard to kind of stove the fire, to de-accelerate. And you are doing nothing apart from, some whisk-cracker. Say, "Oh, Trump is on our neck." I mean, that's pitiable. So what they should do really is to engage this matter openly and say, look, we are a country that has a problem of state and religion. We are a country that has a problem of state and ethnicity. And if you can't solve this problem, look, this history of whether it's genocide or no mass violence has been for over 3 decades at least. It moves up and down based on political pendulum and the fever in the room. But nobody has been done. I'll give you an example. APC, the ruling party, says nothing. ADC, the party wants to take over, is playing dead brain because nobody wants to face the political inconvenience of saying what it is. And so what I see is that they're going to kind of wait out Trump's threat. Put up some makeshift, and maybe Washington gets carried away by domestic crisis. We're going to midterm, and the midterm, Trump will be more focused on domestic policy.
Domestic issues.
And then they have, Nigeria will remain a CPC, but perhaps with little consequence in terms of physical and military attack. Maybe
very quickly, part of this meeting, the focus was counterterrorism, cooperation, regional stability, ways to strengthen security partnership between Nigeria and the U.S.
I think
that's on this, especially the regional stability aspect of.
I think the West Africa is actually the most fragile, the poorest in the world, region-wise, apart from maybe Yemen. Nobody is poorer than Niger and all those countries. The most fragile, the most undemocratic. If you look at the World Freedom Report, if you look at the Venden, the Verity of Democracy reports, if you look at all these reports, the most fragile, the most unsustainable, environmental crisis, human crisis, ethnic conflicts, and the leadership are also the most irresponsible. So if you look at the history of all these conflicts, whether it's in Equatorial Guinea-Bissau, or now Niger, or the ones that happen in Mali, Burkina Faso, at the heart of it is a high dose of irresponsible and accountable governance, where institutions are desecrated. And now we talk about democracy declining, recession. And so you people are now kind of caught where they probably think military rule, with some justification, is better than democracy. And so when we harp about how bad military rule is, people will say that the worst democracy is better than the best military rule. It's nice to say, but that's not logical true. People are trapped in conflict. People are trapped in poverty. Who see their leaders every day, don't even care, don't do anything. So I think there's a need for a sort of emergency in West Africa, not just to get American arms and French, aircraft to help us, but also to sit back and say, how can we govern well? Because the ultimate antidote is not aircrafts and bullets, but good governance, economic growth, sustainable growth, and equal shared prosperity. This is a poverty zone and a conflict zone. You don't escape those two dangerous. And
poverty and conflict seem to go hand
they reinforce
in hand.
each other.
They reinforce each other. Dr. Sam Amadi, Director, Abuja School of Social and Political Thought. Thank you, as always, for your insights.